All right, everybody. Today, pretty excited. We have an old time friend, one of the OG masterminders on the call. Someone has who has risen to I don't know, Instagram celebrity status. And he is in his car right now. He's in his cyber truck because it's the only place in which he can escape his busy ass office
Hmm.
where he can get peace and quiet. And it's a good problem to have, Jordan, when you
Yes.
can't find solitude because you're doing so well. So anyway,
Here.
welcome back or welcome to the pod, Jordan. I feel like you've been on it because we've had so many conversations offline,
Oh,
mastermind, and email over the years, and uh, and we were just talking about you being kind of joining the first mastermind and how it spoke to you when we were kind of doing that initial offering. Um, Kind of do the wind up there. What was that? Was 2019, right?
yeah.
And for the
Yeah.
record,
So,
everyone listening, this is not going to be about mastermind, but this is about kind of what I was telling Jordan before we hit record. Was Jordan was in a situation where he was nervous, had anxiety, and he just decided to take action. Right, it's the antidote for a lot of stress. He decided to take action and get to where he is now. So Jordan, take us all the way back to kind of how you were feeling as a dentist, and I guess it was circa 2019.
yeah. So, back then I had just moved. I had just built a new office. So I moved to this office and I kind of, I don't know, I'm one of those people that kind of just pull the trigger on things and jump into things maybe a little too soon. And I built this office and I knew like in my gut, like I knew like I needed to get out of this previous space that I was in, which was kind of a hole in the wall, like nobody could see it. I knew I needed to move, but it felt a little premature and I felt like I spent all this money and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I didn't feel like I had enough patience to pay for it and all that stuff. So just having this crazy fear moment of like, what did I just do? What did I just get myself into? Um, and it was like my first biggest move in dentistry, and somehow I don't know how I can't remember exactly how, but I came across the Bulletproof podcast, and I heard you guys talking about this putting together this mastermind group, and I just, it just really resonated with me. And I knew it, like I looked you up, Pete, and I noticed that your practice was a fee for service practice, and you were doing kind of more high end type of dentistry, which is what my practice had traditionally been, was fee for service. And so I resonated with your model, and I saw that you had scaled it and that you had multiple office locations, because of that time in my mind, I thought like, how do you scale a fee for service practice in this day and age? So I was really inspired by that. And anyways, I just thought it would be a great opportunity to have a sounding board, to be able to get out of my own head, right? And to be able to talk, um, just with other dentists and with you guys and get a feel for where I'm at, because I think sometimes those fears that we have are actually not even um, warranted, really. Like I think we make up stuff in our head, like that, like everything's going to be a crisis and everything's going to be a fail, but then it's not, right? So, anyways, I was in that place though, like in my own head, like freaking out about it, and so I just pulled the trigger and joined the mastermind group, that the first one you guys ever had.
Hmm.
And crazy enough, at that time, that's right when COVID hit. So it was like I just built this new office, wondering what's going to go on, and then COVID hit, and so it got a little bit crazy. But I think it's pretty, like it was definitely the right choice. Like I don't know what I would have been thinking if I didn't, especially during that time during COVID, if I didn't have other dentists to communicate with and hear and what's going on and what are we going to do and all of this stuff. So um, that's how I came across you guys, and I did the second mastermind, and then we've been in touch over the years, and it's kind of crazy to me that I'm even now I'm on the Bulletproof podcast, right? So it's like come full circle, and it's like, how has this happened? But yeah, just like you said, going back to taking action. I think even before, meeting you guys, there was that initial action. Like, I've got to get out of what I'm doing. I've got to move forward. I don't know exactly what that means. I, I'm just stepping out into the dark a little bit and hoping that it's going to lead me somewhere. And that's what I did when I built that office, and then, joining Bulletproof, and then even up to this point, like, I would say every decision that I've ever made like that, where I didn't know everything ahead of time, I didn't know exactly where I was going, but I just made that first step of taking some action forward, has always led to more success for me,
Yeah, it's a
including,
leap of faith.
yeah, it's a leap of faith. So yeah,
I love
it's
I
it's
love
good to
where
be
you
here.
said, Jordan, that most of what we worry about doesn't come true. I think the statistic is like 90% of the things that you fret about and worry it's going to happen never happen. Right. And
Oh yeah.
so I think that's so important, especially in dentistry, or where we have a lot of variables that we have to worry about. Did I take that retraction cord out? Did I make payroll on time? Did I do my marketing? All these million little things that you worry about. And it causes a lot of anxiety. So let's go back just a little bit, Craig, unless you want to add
Yeah,
anything to
I'm
that.
just, it's been so long. It's 2019. I'm just trying to remember, the concerns that you had, and I'm going off of memory here, but I remember like, and Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm just kind of hallucinating here, but remember, for me, it was like, you don't rock climb anymore. You don't leave the office. You're not, were you doing that? Were you at one point like rock
I mean,
climbing?
I mean a little bit, but obviously, like,
I thought you were in a place where you
in
like weren't like there was things with the
doing as
family.
much as you want to do. Yeah. I think a lot of us get there, and if I'm being honest, there's still some of that, and I'm still working on some of that, right? But yeah, you get bogged down, like it overwhelms your life, and I think the fear of things overwhelms your life, you know what I mean? To where you push things aside that you probably do need to put some energy into because of the worry, right? Um, and I think that's pretty common for any business owner, not just in dentistry, but any business owner, that they the anxiety and the fear and the worry of what's going to happen with this business, like, pushes people to that place where they're nonstop nonstop working, right?
And also
So I
worry,
mean,
and the worry itself screws up your leadership though. So if you're walking around
yeah,
like, holy crap, oh my God, what did I do? You're the worst possible leader because there's conscious and unconscious leadership. Your conscious leadership is what you say, like, come on, team, let's do it. It'll be great. But
hmm
unconsciously, you're a panic animal and people can feel what you're believing. And if you're fearful, people are scared too. You frighten your team and you can't lead them
yeah,
effectively. So it's a vicious cycle, downward spiral, if you will. So it's like getting in the right group or getting in the right frame of mind, so that you could see other leaders and other people that are going through things, and allow them realize that they're going through it as well. Everybody has some degree of,
yeah.
fear
I
going on.
think I think people feel like they're alone. I think that's super common.
Yeah,
Definitely.
especially in dentistry, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the thesis of, like I always say, get in a group. Doesn't have to be our group, but get in a group. Get in a group of like-minded people who want your success. Because dentistry is very lone wolf status.
Yeah.
Jordan, when
Yep.
I thought of you for the podcast and reached out, what I think was so let's call it a 4 or 5 year evolution. We talked about the action of your new office, right? And then you kind of went into motion a little bit higher. And I'm looking at your Instagram right now, and currently you're sitting at 136,000 followers,
hmm
right? So probably back in 2019, you were sitting at zero.
Yeah, something like, I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I'm
Something.
kidding.
No,
But
no, it's
but
true.
nothing
Like a
significant.
hundred, like 100,
Yeah,
right?
a
It's
hundred.
like
Right.
all your
So
friends, your friends.
Yeah,
That's a
friends and your wife's friends.
yeah,
Yeah, we.
exactly. Um,
So
yeah, go ahead.
I think that's probably the thing that I wanted to portray to people is kind of
Okay.
right, because you alluded to the fact of you had a little tiny office that no one can see and you didn't have enough patience, and now you have a ball that's rolling downhill and you probably have inbound marketing just because of the attention that you're getting, attention on social, attention on your marketing, attention
Yeah.
on your website, right? And so marketing and getting eyeballs to what you do is effortless now, but it wasn't effortless pushing it up the hill. So talk to us
Oh
about
yeah.
the journey of where you are.
Mm. Well, what I will say is it has been pretty amazing. I mean, with the social media presence, it has become one of those things where we literally build trust like ahead of time. So by the time that patients get to me, and it's pretty common. It's kind of crazy when we do consultations, and we do virtual consultations, and we have people from all over the country. But it's amazing that what that presence does, because people will literally like say on the consultations, they're like, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe like I'm actually talking to you, and that I get to talk to you about my treatment, things like
Yeah,
that.
there's
It's
some
mind
emotion
boggling
in
to
it.
me, because in my mind, like I'm like, dude, that's not, I don't feel like that at all, right? It's mind boggling. um but one thing I did want to say about that is we have had a lot of success, and it's pretty amazing. My schedule's booked out really far. um, but I think sometimes people, I mean, I feel like we still have challenges, right? Like even right now, it's
Of
like
course.
you're always having to push, you're always having to go, right? And it's never a set it and forget it type of thing. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but at least with me, yeah, we've built this kind of marketing machine, and it's been really successful. But I think the moment you take your foot off the pedal, it kind of starts going backwards. So
Yeah.
no matter what, there has to be this kind of persistence and continuing to, I think, innovate and put energy into it. And I mean, that's where we're at right now. But what,
Well, I would
what's
say
been the big push?
there's no such thing as sorry, Jordan, walking into a little latency. There's no such thing as coasting, right? When you feel like you're coasting, you're actually just contracting. So you're either contracting or you're growing. So it is put
You're
on the
growing,
gas
you're dying.
forever,
Yeah.
forever and
Yeah.
And
right.
I feel that way too, Jordan, just so you know. We have a very knock on wood successful business reaching records, monthly. And I'm tearing the entire place apart rather, and taking on a massive level of debt because I just know people need expansion, they need energy, and they need new things and new. It's just you need a shot in the arm. Dentistry is basically a form of retail. Think about your favorite restaurant. If they didn't redo the interiors or make something different in 12 or 14 years, it would get stale. And if you look at your town, when I built my building here, I was really ahead of the curve. And now we have really fancy restaurants and really cool hotels. So I need to stay abreast of it all. I wanted to just point you for 1 second, Jordan, because it's like, I think calling what you've done like a marketing, and I love the fact that we're talking about the marketing, but really what you built was something really remarkable. You innovated a different type of dentistry. You brought in a team that was different. You learned a new technique, and then you refined it, got really good, and then you turn on the marketing machine. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
do it the exact
Yeah.
opposite. They turn on a marketing machine. They try to make, let's face it, your results are awesome. And your marketing works because your results are awesome. So like
Right.
you have chops. A lot of people may hear what we just said, and I'm happy if hopefully they're still listening. You have to have something, business is innovation plus marketing. It's not
Yep.
marketing and forget it. So let's talk about so you built Arete Dental Center, right? And
hmm
you're like, what the hell did I do? Oh my God, this is crazy. And then talk about your trajectory, your mentoring or mentee relationships, and this new
Oh
technique,
yeah.
and then switching gears, because I think the audience needs to hear that.
Well, when I built the office, I mean, I've always been I've always been interested in aesthetics, cosmetics. I'm an artist, right? I'm a musician. I'm a drummer, so I really have that creative brain. I've never, the funny thing is, my dad's a dentist, but kind of like you, Craig. But my dad's a dentist, and I remember growing up thinking like, I actually don't want to ever do dentistry.
Yeah.
It's so, but I'm here now.
Well, you just didn't want to do
Doing
his
it
version with all due respect. I didn't want to
his
do my
version.
dad's version.
I don't want to do my dad's version of dentistry.
And by the way, that's what's beautiful about dentistry. So let's just say you're doing, for the people that are listening right now, they're doing a version of dentistry they hate. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You
Yeah,
can switch
exactly.
gears. And the story you're about to tell is perfect for someone that's doing dad's dentistry or your grandpa's dentistry. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to.
I do think, dentists get into that rut. Like it's like this boring routine 9 to 5. Like there's just no fulfillment in what they're doing. And I think that if I were to say, I feel like I've been fairly successful financially, and that's great. But if I were to pinpoint what my biggest success, at least in dentistry, is that I have kind of found my own path, and there's quite a bit of fulfillment in what we're doing. And so I was always interested in aesthetics, right? When I built this practice, but I was, doing traditional stuff, doing a lot of digital smile design stuff. I have this training in oral surgery. I did a year in oral surgery after dental school. I was doing like implants and all on fours and stuff like that. And I'm trying to find my way, what's kind of the best thing for me. And actually, I have this guy, Dr. Marshall Hansen. We've talked about him a bit, and there's probably a lot of people on this podcast that actually know who he is. But he was an acquaintance of mine. I knew him. He knew I was building this office, and long story short, he called me up one day and asked if he could come and rent an operatory from me. And in my mind, I was like, sure, yeah, why not? Like, I'm not maximizing my office at this point. I have space for somebody, and I thought a little extra money that would be awesome. So I brought him in, and I just noticed like he was bringing in patients. He was doing composite resin veneers. He had his own technique on it, and he was bringing these patients in, and totally different experience than mine. Of like, people hate being at the dentist, and this is miserable, and I don't like being here. I like you a lot, but I hate being here, and just kind of
No offense. I hate you. No offense.
Yeah,
I hate you. I hate
exactly.
people like you. Oh, no offense. Yeah. Yeah, no big deal.
The typical like dental office where there's just kind of this negative aura, and with him,
It's need-based versus want-based. Marshall was changing
Want-based.
people's life, and you're like helping them get a crown. So is Marshall still there, by the way?
He's not still there. I will say, like at some point we thought about partnership, but I don't think like in the long run with our personalities and certain things that would have worked out. So, but I will say I'm grateful that he came in, because
of course, buddy.
He kind of showed me. I mean, it was one of those things. It's like his patients were, leaving happy and their cash pay, and I started to see this light, like, oh, well, maybe there's something to this. So I started to shadow him, and
I remember all this. This is during Mastermind. I remember you telling me like, oh, this guy wants to rent space. What do you think? I'm like, hell yeah, why not? I was pitching for partnership, of course, not knowing. So how long did y'all work together total?
I want to say it was about 3 years.
Okay.
That he was in the office. And so basically there was a point, I want to say it was 2021, maybe it was 2020, it was like February. I remember it was February, and I sat down with my team, and I said, by the end of this year, I'm going to be only doing composite smiles. We're going to bring in an associate. He's going to be doing, general, and I'm only going to be doing smiles. That's what we're going to be doing. And I remember the team looking at me like I was crazy. Like, how are we going to do that, in a few months? But it's cool looking back, because it happened. Like by the end of that year, that's what I was doing. And it took a lot of, hard work. I mean, it took believing in it. It took practicing it. It took getting up really early, and everything that Marshall was doing was analog. So in the beginning, I was doing everything, doing my own wax ups, doing all these workups, doing the cases for really low fees.
And like cutting
But
back too. Like one of my doctors went to your course. It wasn't like you did the whole thing and then like the next day cut it back.
yeah,
Oh my word. I mean, I'm
so
not
it's
trying to throw shade, but like when she came back and doing this, I'm like, so wait, you build a perfect statue, add the composite, and then like cut it
yeah.
back. Like it
So
seemed a bit
yeah, so
inefficient. What do
you're
I
right.
know?
So no, you're right. So during this time, so initially I thought like, oh, maybe this technique is, maybe somewhat scalable. It's like this systematic process, and so I kind of thought like maybe there's something to this. But then as we started teaching courses, and dentists would come in, and I would one-on-one with dentists and watching what they could do, it became really frustrating because for the vast majority of the dentists that came, it was like, dude, they can't do this, man. They
Well, they don't see it.
they
They
can't
don't
do
see
this.
it.
Yeah.
And Michelangelo saw the statue in the block. He would take a block of marble and he would see the statue inside. He was famous for saying, I just removed the parts of the marble that don't belong to the
Right.
statue. But I mean, that's a very simple way of saying it. I've worked with 20 or so associates. Some people just have that artistic understanding for line angles.
Yeah. Right. And so I started to notice this, and I started to notice that a lot of the dentists that would, learn this technique, they would come in excited, like, oh, great, I'm going to do what Marshall does, and it's going to be great. But then I had numerous dentists call me back and just say, I'm not getting this. Like I
It's
even
your fault.
I even had some dentists come out just to shadow me. Can you help me with this? There's multiple dentists that came to the course multiple times. And I was just thinking, this is ridiculous, man. Like because they're excited to do it, but then they start doing it and they realize this is way too hard. It's not profitable. Like it's just burning me out. Like there's no way I can do this. And so I started thinking a lot about that because I enjoy business and I enjoy the idea of maybe scaling something. And I kind of was curious about maybe coming up with ideas to where we could overcome some of these challenges. So the first thing that was going through my head was, okay, there's probably only like 1% of people that have the artistic eye to be able to carve teeth like this and do this with, three-dimensional layers and all this stuff. And I think traditionally the reason why composite hasn't been done a lot too is because of that. There's this limitation. And just from a, you know, just from a business standpoint, what I started to notice too is that there's kind of this big marketplace out there, um, for people wanting something like this. I mean, we get people all the time, and they're really drawn into really two big things. One is, they love the idea of non-invasive or very minimally invasive, right? To where we're doing very little alteration of their teeth, if anything. Um, but they also love the idea of it looking naturally beautiful, right? So a lot of people have those two fears. They fear, you know, they fear grinding down their teeth, for cosmetics, and then the other big fear that they have is that it's going to look bad. It's going to look fake. People are going to be looking at their teeth, right? Um, and I realize there's a lot of people out there like that, but the problem is there's not enough supply for it, right? There's no, dentists can't do this that way very easily. And with the composite resin, we're able to, like, the majority of cases we can do it that way, where it's like non-invasive and naturally beautiful and things like that. And so I kind of started on this journey of, melding some ideas together, some of Marshall's ideas, but also digital dentistry. And we've kind of come down this path where I said, if I can build a system that minimizes the amount of artistry, the dentists have to do, doesn't mean it's not somewhat technical, but to where they're not having to sculpt teeth and do all this stuff. Craig, you mentioned line angles and drawing line, all this stuff. It's just way too hard. And if we can shorten the time, because like you said, the the time frame for doing these cases, at least with Marshall's technique, is really a 2-day thing, right? And it just felt like this is too long, with what dentists can charge for this stuff or what they think they can charge for this stuff. It's just too long, and it's not profitable. So over the past couple of years, we've come up with this process where I personally think like my cases are better than they were before. I'm not spending nearly as much time. I'm not doing all this workup stuff. Um, we're doing everything digitally on the computer. And to me, it's more accurate. And my cases are about 4 to 6 hours of, chair time to get it done.
Are you
So,
teaching this now? Are you teaching this new pathway?
so we're kind of at a place right now where I've been looking for dentists to sort of beta test what we're doing and give us feedback on it, to see how it works in other people's hands, right? I've got a couple dentists working on it right now. Of course, I have an associate dentist that's doing it too. So
How long is he associated with you over there?
he's been there since last June, so going on a year. Yeah, he's right out of dental school, and I feel like, I mean, obviously there's experience that plays a role in how things look and whatnot, but him being right out of dental school, I find it quite amazing. We've been having him do these cases, and they turn out pretty nice with the process that we have. Like, if I were to compare that to bringing somebody in and say, hey, we want you to learn how to do total analog hand sculpting composite resin, like, I do not think his cases would look the way that they do.
Of course, yeah. Why do it? Why not use the technology? I mean, listen, you don't get a medal for the process. You get the gold star for the result. And I think a lot of dentists, especially artistic dentists, just love their recipe more than the result. At the end of the day, we have to leverage technology. We have to leverage. It's incumbent upon every dentist to make the outcome better and have it be faster and cheaper and every other way that,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So are you thinking like almost like a series of clinics around that are approved?
Somewhere along those lines. We're considering
sign me up,
going that route. Yeah.
Sign me up. I know Lizelle at my office loves it, and she was trained under you guys, but it was a very analog process. And with all due respect to what you and Marshall were doing, and I'm not trying to throw shade, it made no sense to me to build a sandcastle and then the next day chop it halfway down.
Nope.
And I was like, I could not understand for the life of me. But you know what?
Yeah.
I saw y'all's results, so I was like, I just don't understand. So I just need to shut up.
No, absolutely. I'm here to say that is absolutely true.
Okay.
I did not like Marshall's process for that reason. Of course, it took me a little bit to kind of figure out, some of the issues with it. And I think that goes for any composite resin veneer process.
Well, look, it's like what works in people's hands.
Honest.
I know, but it's like whatever works in your hand. So you look at Marshall's results, and I don't want to make this about this particularly, but Marshall is a very skilled technician, just like you are.
Yeah.
And I think as dentists, we are recipe followers. So we really enjoy, like, hey, it works for Jordan, it works for Marshall, it works for Dr. Jones. Let me do the 9 steps.
Yeah.
And then you'd see the fallout. People would be coming back to you and like, hey, I've gone through 4 courses. The patients are getting pissed. I'm spending hours and hours and hours. I can't charge enough for it. And you're like, damn, and I know that feeling, because like, am I really helping people, or am I just helping people believe in something they can't do? And that sucks for people. So I'm thankful that you're able to refine the process. And I think it needs to be. I think what we're seeing, like with exocad, is the predominant language of dentistry now, the predominant software language of dentistry, is that a mediocre digital technician can beat a better than average analog technician, because the software creates so much benefit.
100%.
And maybe even such to say that a mediocre digital can beat an excellent analog.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely. I mean, it's, in my mind, I mean, like I said, there's multiple things to this whole concept and an idea. And the biggest things, like I said, is that people are looking for minimally invasive options, right? And
Yeah.
so that's a big
And
element
they
of it.
should be, by the way,
And
Jordan. They
yeah,
should be. If anything, I am concerned, and I've said this a lot on recent podcasts. I'm concerned about what I see as a reckless regard for enamel. You know,
right.
I see, you know, on your Instagram, I saw a girl the other, you know, a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, decently crowded teeth. And, you know, they were like the two centrals were kind of measly rotated inward.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, because I know you and I know your ethics, I know you didn't do tooth prep, or you might have done very, very minimal
Very
reversible tooth
minimal.
prep. But had that gone to the top 10 cosmetic dentists that are your competition, and I'm using air quotes again,
Mm-hmm.
you know those teeth would have been prepped so damn far that this 30-year-old
Yeah.
girl, I mean, dentistry, even all of our dentistry is like tires. You don't want to change your tires when they have 5,000 miles on them. You want to get all 15, 20,000 miles because
Yeah.
God planned to have our teeth for 85 years or 90 years, you know, hopefully. And if you start that dentistry at 30, if you cut those teeth down and do aggressive veneers at 30, what is that girl going to be like when she's
Oh yeah.
55 or 60? It's, you know, it's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be implants.
We know what happens. We know what
We
happens.
do. And
You know.
why do none of us cosmetic dentists, why do none of us, most of us, you know, not have veneers? Most of the
Yeah.
cosmetic veneer dentists,
It's
well,
so
I know
true.
you, but
So true.
you're rare. You're rare. Look at all the other cosmetics, you know, think about them in your head. They don't have
Oh yeah.
veneers.
They don't
Why,
have an
what do
answer.
we know that the patients need to know? And I think you're
Yeah,
hitting on the head
it's very true.
when you say the patients want it, they ought to want it, Jordan. It's our
I mean,
job, it's your job to convince them that they should get this too.
one thing that I've seen in dentistry is it's been this progression towards, you know, it's such a focus on material, like strength of material. There's
Yeah.
kind of been that trend of like
Yeah.
this to that to zirconia, like is it stronger? Can I run over it with my car? Kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, we love that.
And we've kind of neglected the idea that like, okay, well the tooth itself, I mean, that's the foundation. Like
Yeah.
like what do we want to preserve more, the material or the tooth? And I think obviously
Very profound.
there's a huge movement in dentistry around that. I think a lot of people are wanting, a lot of dentists are wanting to do more of that, um, minimally invasive. I mean, you see it with porcelain and no prep
I don't
veneers,
think
things.
I'm seeing that, Jordan. Not what I'm seeing.
Know what you're seeing?
In my bias, I'm seeing the needle move towards more destruction of enamel, especially in the US. I'm seeing
I think it's the most common thing that, and maybe I'm in my own little bubble of certain dentists that are more minimally invasive, but I do think I think one of the problems you run into is that it's easier to be more invasive.
of
It's
course
like
it
it's like
is.
it's easier for a dentist to be more invasive,
Yeah,
right?
the hardest thing
100%.
to do is a
Yeah.
slot prep on number 15. You're like,
No,
"Shit,
the
it's a big
hardest thing to
crowd."
do is a no prep veneer, right? People would be like, was it the same price? I remember people being like, is it the same price? I'm like, it's actually way harder than prepping your teeth
Yeah,
down.
drill
Yeah.
all the teeth down. Drill it all smooth until it's perfectly smooth and easy. Drill it to the
Give
littlest
your
stump.
ceramist a lot of room.
Yeah, tons of
Yeah,
room.
just you go
Yeah.
interproximal.
If you can reduce the teeth 3 millimeters in all ways, your ceramist will never complain again.
Right.
And your root
Yeah,
canal and your endodontist will send you.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with the restoration,
Right.
quite aesthetically, right? So
And patients just don't know it. Patients
I
are
think that's
yeah.
just it, Jordan. I think you nailed it right there. Is a lot of times when people get into cosmetics, they don't know exactly where they're headed. And so
no,
an aggressive prep allows you to move things medial-distally a little bit, change things here and there. But if you're not if you're not crystal clear on your exact what you need to do, you just, unfortunately, some and not all are a little bit aggressive. Jordan, can we pivot here? Because I think we've talked enough about, you know, technique and material science and stuff like that.
sure, yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
kind of get back to the fact that you had two things going on at the time. So one, you had a new passion for a new technique, but I always say, like, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you're doing if you don't have attention of people. Meaning,
Yeah,
right? Like, it's not that you're not good at your job; it's that no one knows you're doing it, kind of thing. So
yeah,
what did you do? So you had two things. So one you had, hey, I've got this brand new quiver in my
yeah,
holster,
yeah.
right? This new arrow in my quiver, I should say.
Mhm.
And now I need to get as many people aware of what I'm doing as possible. So talk me through what was the catalyst. And I'm looking at your Instagram now, and like I think that's another masterclass you should put on, right? As well as the clinical
Yeah.
practice, you put on a masterclass of like how here's how you put like you and the Appas of the world, you spend so much time on your social content. It's not an afterthought, it is the thought, probably.
Well, the
Right?
first thought is the
Well,
innovation.
Yeah.
That's the first thought.
yeah. And I think that there's, I mean, just thinking about that, I mean, with both, kind of like you said, Craig, and there's a book, an old book called Everything is Marketing.
Yeah.
And I think it's true.
I
It's
was
like,
mentioned in that. I was so proud of myself.
yeah, like,
My
so
15 seconds of fame.
one side of it is saying like, okay, what is it that my business offers, right? Like, what are we doing? Is this service amazing? Is it good? Is it hitting on what people are looking for, what they want? So there's been innovation on that side, but then I think, like you said, Pete, like people have to see it. They got to know that it exists, and I think that we've been fairly innovative on that side as well. So we've kind
How
of
so?
so I've always, I guess, okay, so there's a point, and it was probably with Marshall because Marshall had a pretty decent following, and these people were coming in and they're seeing him on social, and I was like, okay, well, clearly social is an important aspect to marketing. There's like it felt to me like, especially for an aesthetic practice, right? Social media seems like a very necessary thing. But of course, here you are, a practice owner, a dentist, all of these things, you're spending all this time just focused on that. And then you think like, well, if I need to be successful on social media, like how do I do that? Because that feels like a full-time job too. And so you're kind of in this dilemma. And I remember, I'd watch Marshall do his stuff, and he'd post, and I think a lot of dentists do this on their own. They like feel like they have to do their social media on their own and film stuff and edit videos. And I was just like, man, there's no way I can do that. Like I am not doing that on my own, but I knew that I needed it. And so I kind of went on this journey of trying to find somebody that I could bring into my office, have them be there a majority of the time, filming, doing the edits, posting, doing the content. And I happened to come across Gage, and you guys know Gage.
Mm-hmm.
He was 21 at the time. I mean, he's still young, right? Super young. He never he'd never done videography or social media stuff, but he was very entrepreneurial. He told me, he's like, I want to start my own business. I want to do this. I want to grow. I want to like, I mean, he was so like on fire and so motivated that it's like, I feel good about this kid. Like, I feel like he's going to come in here, even though he's never done this before, and he's going to kill it. So I ended
So
up
you would say
hiring
the
him.
inflection point was video then, right?
Video. What do you mean?
Like actually having someone create videos. You would say that was kind of the inflection point in your marketing, was like,
Yeah,
what? Okay.
I
Video
knew it,
production.
like, and you guys know this, like as business owners, like you realize that you can't just do everything on your own, right?
No.
And I think this is a really big one, and I think that a lot of dentists are scared to spend money on this kind of stuff. They think, oh, I can do it myself, and I'll just do my social with myself, and I'll save money. But I knew that if I ever wanted to scale further, I needed to bring, a team of people on and have them do a lot of this stuff so I can focus on what I'm good at and do that. So, we brought him on, and we spent a lot of time doing, the traditional stuff on social. And there's always people saying, oh, these are the trends, do this, do that. You got to post, every single day. You got to be on your stories all day long. And I was like, I do not want to do this. Like, I do not want to do this. This is at times. And I was really like, I was really kind of not motivated by those things, right? And I think a lot of dentists aren't. And it feels like, okay, I'm going to do all these trendy videos and dance in front of, the camera or whatnot. And it's still not going to get me anywhere. And I happened to come across this book called Hook Point. This book called Hook Point, and it kind of had a different philosophy where it was like, okay, it's not about posting a million times. It's not the time of day you post. It's not, you know, being on there all the time. What really matters is the content itself, like the quality of the content, right? And the concepts that were in this book was more kind of like a timeless approach, where it's like, okay, humans are humans. We have this psychology. We're drawn to things for certain reasons. And if you can hone in on that and create content around that human psychology, then what happens is people are like, I want to watch this video. And if they want to watch this video and they want to share it, then they share it with people, and it has more of a chance of going viral, right? So we started working on videos in that light, instead of saying like, oh, let's just post a lot of things, let's do trends, let's put trending audio on this. We said, well, what can we do that would draw people in? They'd want to watch things. And that's, I mean, our biggest thing, that's where we came up with the celebrity videos idea, because we knew that, number one, like with celebrities, when people are scrolling through social media, number one, a celebrity is somebody that's familiar. So you're starting with something that's already familiar, right? If they just see me, it's like, who's that guy? I don't care about that guy, right? But we're starting with something familiar, and then we're adding some controversy around it, and then adding in, you know, the things that you see on those videos. And I want to say, I think it was a couple of years ago. It's almost a couple of years ago that we had our first video start to go viral, right? And it started to go and go and go, and then from there things took off. But it's just different. It's a different approach than most people. When they look at social media, most people will tell you, you've got to do this, you got to do this, you got to follow this. You've got to focus on your niche market. And one thing that I've learned is that actually, if you want success on social media, you really want to focus more on a general market. And the reason why is because you want every person and their dog to want to watch your video, right? So the more people you capture under that video,
It's the top of the funnel, the widest top of the funnel.
the widest top of the funnel, right? If you
Right,
can capture that, there's a lot of people in that funnel that are going to want to do their smiles. So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
Kind of rambling on.
It's a basic marketing principle, right? Like top of funnel, and then it's the buying process. You're going all the way down to eventually to having the 5% of people who want your services or know of someone who wants your services.
Right.
And so so that's great, Jordan. That's really good. Let's Craig, anything in closing that you want to do? Jordan's got to get it's early in Utah. He's got to get back. He's got an office full of people.
Yeah. How do you like your Cybertruck, Jordan? That's what I want to close with.
Dude, I love my Cybertruck.
Jordan, Craig has been on this. Like,
Well,
I can't talk about it enough. It's so weird.
It's a controversial vehicle. It's weird looking.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's ugly. It's very ugly. I've been driving it for.
It's kind of ugly, but I like it. Like
I'm driving the Beast right now, the Cyber Beast.
Yeah, you have. So you have one.
Well, I just borrowed my friend Rob's, and I got rear-ended, and then I pressure washed it this weekend and blasted off the film off of it. So I think I have to freaking buy it now. I borrowed his truck and trashed it. Literally trashed it.
Oh my gosh!
Wait. So you borrowed it?
So I borrowed his truck. I was rear-ended in it. I was filming content. I put it on my story. I literally got rear-ended while I'm filming content, and it's totally jacked. And then I feel terrible about it. So now it's Carfaxed. And then this weekend's love bug season in Florida. So there's tons of bugs, like clouds of bugs. So I brought it to my ranch. It's a beautiful wrap on it, like a bronze wrap. So I pull out my pressure washer, but I got a badass, like Emily Boulden, like would approve of this pressure washer. Pete's wife has like a weird pressure washer. No, it's like, yeah, it'll take like the freaking paint off your house. And I didn't realize it. I blasted his wrap off. So like this car is freaking jacked. So I'm going to have to own it. It's a Foundation Series Cyber Beast.
Oh my God.
Which, by the way, you can cause whiplash for yourself.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Do you have a beast? I do have a beast.
Yeah, 2.6 seconds.
I
I don't know. I mean,
of course you do. Why would you not?
Why would
I
I
mean,
not?
they have a baby seat. Having a side
I
reviews and a
do.
baby seat are kind of mutually exclusive. Give you like your 3-year-old whiplash.
Yeah, I know, but it's awesome. So you're saying you have to buy it now?
Yeah, well, I have to buy it because I've just jacked his up. So it's not really, I have no option. I've ruined it. I've ruined his car. But anyway, Jordan, listen, I'm super proud of you. And I just remember our early conversations, and I'm just proud of all you've created and the intentionality you put into things. And, there's a lot of deliberate
Thank you.
work. When we were doing that, early mastermind stuff with you, the visioneering, you really put the work in. You actually wrote like a
Agreed.
descriptive plan of like your game plan, what you wanted to create. And you did it, and that's why you're having fulfillment. I mean, I was on the phone with a guy today, a really nice guy, really really nice guy, listening to the podcast. Shout out to Dr. Donnie. But it's like, what do you want to do? He's like rattling off what he wants to do, and it was like, why, and it kind of ran out. So he's got a little bit more work to do with that stuff.
Right.
But you really did the work. And it's like, farming. You planted the seeds, and no wonder you're happy with the harvest you're reaping now.
And you have to keep. I mean, the thing with that is you got to keep going. You got to keep
Oh yeah,
watering the seeds, right? Like you can't just plant it and then leave.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people do that. You've got to keep
yeah.
you got to keep going with it. So
And you need another version too. I'd love to talk offline. What's next for you? Maybe
oh
if
yeah,
you're gonna be back in that.
I've got some good stuff going up
I
actually.
bet. I bet.
I got some fun stuff.
Cool.
So we should talk.
Yeah,
for
I'd
sure.
love to. I'd love to. Let me know if you want a South Florida location of this thing.
I actually do. By the way, I was just in Miami. We went to a Messi game,
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Miami soccer, right? Watching Messi. My 9-year-old son's obsessed with soccer, so we went out there and did that. But absolutely. Like we've been,
We'll chat.
yeah, we'll chat about.
If the opportunity's open, I'd love it.
It's a good place. It's a good place out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be a good place for what we do too. So
For sure.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, I agree.
Right.
I echo Craig's sentiments. Proud of you, man. I'm glad we get to spend the next year together in a new version of Mastermind Continuum. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Thanks for the time this morning, buddy. And we'll see. Are you going to Summit, by the way?
You know what?
I'll be there.
I should be there. I should go, right?
Correct. Craig will be there.
You're putting me on the spot now. Yes, of
I
course.
was thinking on the spot. It's gotta go now.
It's all right. It's all
Yeah.
right. Well, I appreciate you. And yeah, man, we'll see you. We'll see you soon. We'll see
Okay,
you
sounds
soon.
good. Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jordan.
See ya.